And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it and it's nothing.
Just
there.
go for it.
Yeah, it's nothing. So if you're a woman and you don't take any extra hormones or male hormones, you're not taking steroids or any sort of...
If your wife is really harassed, you don't make fun of Justin Baldoni. You don't make fun of the situation. You take it very seriously. You file HR complaints. You raise the issue and you follow a legal process. What you don't do is mock the person and turn it into a joke.
Yeah, I didn't imagine that. Acting was a way to get out of the house.
Have you heard the latest buzz about Ryan Reynolds? It all started when Joe Rogan, yes, that Joe Rogan, took to his massive podcast platform and went off about Reynolds. Rumor has it Rogan thinks Ryan's Hollywood fame has totally gone to his head. Normally, you'd shrug off another celebrity squabble, but this time it's grown into a full-scale firestorm. Marvel might even be throwing a legal curveball at Ryan. And then there's the mysterious feud involving Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, which could be fueling all of this behind the scenes. Sound complicated? Trust me, it's a wild ride, and everyone's got an opinion about what's really going on.
It's an actual woman. Yeah, I said actual. Performance-enhancing drugs, but then someone comes along that was a man for 30 years and decides they're going to be a woman, and this has happened, and literally transitioned a few months ago, and competes as a woman and destroys records and dominates you in that sport. It's not fair. It's as much cheating as taking steroids when the other person doesn't. Distinction where we don't allow men to compete in women's divisions. And I think that males should be able to compete in the women's division of weightlifting. That choice meaning hormonally.
I shouldn't even phrase it as a choice.
Simple question. If you say that the child thinks it's a girl, so you're going to give the child hormones. Mm-hmm. If the
So let's break down how Joe Rogan ended up calling out one of Hollywood's most beloved actors. On his podcast, Rogan allegedly mocked Ryan for using his fame in ways that may be backfiring. He questioned whether Reynolds has overstepped, especially now that Deadpool 3 is under scrutiny and rumors are swirling that Marvel is less than thrilled with Ryan's creative choices. What makes Rogan's commentary hit so hard is that for the longest time, Reynolds was practically everyone's favorite wisecracking anti-hero off-screen. Charming, self-deprecating, totally relatable. Hearing Rogan of all people say, "Hey, maybe this guy isn't as down-to-earth as he seems," has caused a lot of fans to do a double take. But that was only the start of the drama. Because once Rogan points a finger, you can bet the entire internet flocks in, scanning for clues and piling on their own theories. Some folks think Rogan's simply stirring the pot for clicks. Others argue he's onto something about Reynolds' ego. Either way, it created a domino effect, dragging out more stories, some probably legit, others just wild speculation, about Ryan's behind-the-scenes behavior.
It was like just tracking him down, and then I finally got to read the script, and the script was a thriller. So that was a little confusing to me because he's like such a funny director. And so I said, what is this? Because the script is definitely like a twisting, turning, intense thriller. Is it a comedy or a thriller? And he said, yes. So then every day on set, I was like, is today a comedy or is it a thriller?
It's a good mix
and it's like, it's like really kind of over the top and campy and trashy and fun and like, kind of like my outfit, I guess.
I thought I'd end up in law enforcement like my family, so
Now, here's where things get really interesting. Marvel Studios. You'd think they'd be grateful to Reynolds for essentially single-handedly reviving Deadpool, but rumor has it they're not thrilled with him right now. Whispers of a lawsuit started circulating when insiders claimed Reynolds may have slipped personal vendettas into the Deadpool 3 script, allegedly poking fun at real individuals in a way Marvel found unacceptable. Marvel's big on protecting their brand, and apparently they saw these rumored jabs as way too risky. Whether it's a real lawsuit or just intense corporate pushback, the result is the same: tension. Marvel is famous for keeping tight reins on their franchises. They guard their cinematic universe like a dragon hoarding gold. If any actor, no matter how big, tries to rewrite the script in a way that doesn't align with their long-term vision, you can bet there will be consequences. Some people say Marvel's reaction is overblown, that it's just Deadpool being Deadpool. Others argue that if personal grudges start bleeding into the final film, it could hurt the franchise's reputation. After all, no one wants to watch two celebrities' personal battle overshadow their favorite comic book character.
Child thinks it's a girl, let it be a girl. Like, you don't have, why are you adding hormones? If you're shooting hormones into a child and you're affecting the child's development, you're saying that's not a choice. That's nonsense. Of course it's a choice. You're choosing to chemically change this child's body.
Yeah.
And you're saying that this isn't a choice. Well, it's definitely a choice to do that. There's so many guns. You're not getting them all. It's not possible. You wanted to do that without changing the Second Amendment. Like, you just have a...
So where does Blake Lively fit into all this? By now, you've probably seen headlines about Lively teaming up with Justin Baldoni for the book-to-movie adaptation of It Ends With Us. At first glance, that partnership seemed like a match made. In Hollywood heaven, Lively's star power plus Baldoni's knack for heartfelt storytelling. But insiders claim tensions flared on set. Lively allegedly felt sidelined as Baldoni juggled multiple roles: director, co-writer, and lead actor, leaving her with less creative input than she wanted. Then some text messages leaked, in which Lively apparently called her allies dragons, hinting that she might recruit them, Ryan included, to steer public opinion. Naturally, that fueled speculation about whether Reynolds used Deadpool 3 as a way to throw shade at Baldoni. Some fans defended Lively, saying any strong female star asserting control is inevitably labeled difficult. Others argued the messages revealed a manipulative streak that might clash with her polished image. Either way, what started as a feud over how to portray characters in a romance movie has now spilled into the Marvel sandbox. Quite the shift in tone, wouldn't you say?
It wasn't really like a passion when I was a kid. It was something that I was already doing at home, you know, to survive. So you kind of, you know, I noticed when I was a kid, making people laugh was a great self-defense mechanism. It really helped me kind of navigate my way through my own home with my older brothers and my dad. And I could diffuse them by making them laugh.
About a month ago, this really hit home with me too. About a month ago, I was sitting in traffic and
While Deadpool is known for over-the-top humor and meta references, the introduction of a character allegedly called Nice Pool has fans doing a double take. Rumor says Nice Pool is a not-so-subtle jab at Justin Baldoni's public persona, a squeaky clean, super feminist vibe that Ryan might be poking fun at. Deadpool has always roamed into edgy territory, and that's part of its charm. But turning a globally beloved franchise into a tool for settling personal scores might be going too far, at least according to Marvel's top brass. This is where lines blur between comedic roast and personal attack. The idea of cameos or friendly roast is one thing, but entire scenes that drag real-world feuds onto the big screen could push the franchise in an uncomfortable direction. Fans who crave Deadpool's irreverent style say, "Bring on the jokes," while others worry it will overshadow the story itself. If these rumors are even half true, they might explain why Marvel is reportedly furious and considering legal action. After all, if any star can just pop in their personal vendettas, what's next for the broader MCU?
A buyback, where you just offer people the opportunity to make some money by giving their guns out, like an amendment. I mean, it's a big conversation.
No, because people can...
Who is the person that's capable of shooting people with the guns and the bullets?
No, it's the guns and the bullets.
The guns and the bullet are inanimate objects. Without a person pulling the trigger, we're talking nonsense here. And the quote, reinforce white supremacist ideas, that's not yours.
No, that's not.
Reynolds has been at the heart of Deadpool since day one. Remember how he leaked that test footage back in 2014, essentially forcing the studio to greenlight the film because of massive fan demand? That gave him hero status among audiences and seemingly a lot of goodwill with Marvel. But sometimes success goes hand in hand with friction. Insiders say Reynolds gradually became more than just the star. He was giving his 2 cents on scripts, casting, marketing, you name it. While that might have been okay initially, it reportedly started clashing with Marvel's grand plans for the MCU. As the story goes, Reynolds' final say clashed with Marvel's carefully orchestrated storyline. And because Deadpool is now part of the MCU after Disney's acquisition of Fox, the stakes got bigger. Some Marvel execs felt he was ignoring the bigger puzzle. Others defended him, saying the man knows the character better than anyone. But add in the possible nice Pool fiasco and any private frustrations about how Reynolds used his sway, and you can see why tensions might reach a boiling point.
I was just like jamming These Dreams by heart. I was killing it in the car. And there was just this busload of high school kids that were parked right beside me. I didn't even realize. I looked over and every one of their jaws were just on the ground laughing their guts out.
That is also accurate. And
while all this was simmering, Joe Rogan chimed in, loudly, accusing Reynolds of letting power get the best of him. He even hinted that Ryan's involvement in Blake Lively's feud with Baldoni might be overshadowing both of their careers. Now, love him or hate him, Rogan's got a massive audience. So once he unleashed his takes, fans, bloggers, and entertainment insiders jumped in. Some said, Rogan's right. Ryan is acting like the puppet master. Others insisted this is just Rogan being Rogan, stirring controversy for attention. Still, his comments set off a wave of hot takes. People started analyzing every public statement Reynolds had made in the last few years, rereading interviews, scouring behind-the-scenes footage, anything to see if there's a pattern of controlling behavior. It's like the entire internet turned into amateur detectives overnight, combing through details that probably wouldn't have mattered otherwise. Regardless of the truth, Rogan's words have certainly amped up public scrutiny.
Really high praise as well. It was just one of those, it felt like a live-action Pixar movie. It was something that, I wanted to do something where nobody was being stabbed in the face.
Yes.
The big question is, can Reynolds bounce back? If Marvel's truly fed up, they might trim Deadpool's role in future crossovers, or recast him altogether, though that sounds pretty extreme. Deadpool without Ryan Reynolds seems unthinkable to many fans, so it's hard to imagine a scenario where Marvel easily replaces him. Still, big studios have done wilder things when they feel brand integrity is at stake. And if Deadpool 3 is overshadowed by drama, that doesn't bode well for ticket sales or the franchise's future. Blake Lively might also feel the aftershocks. Her professional image, once mostly free of controversies, now feels complicated. The Dragon's text leak suggests behind-the-scenes strategizing that some folks find off-putting. Hollywood's no stranger to power moves, but it's rare to see such direct evidence of a star allegedly mobilizing forces against a colleague. Whether that's just standard showbiz maneuvering or something more manipulative depends on who you ask. Either way, it's added a layer of intrigue to Lively's carefully polished persona.
Breaking news this evening, Joe Rogan, an extremely popular podcaster, announced on social media today that he has COVID.
So we immediately threw the kitchen sink at it. All kinds of meds, monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin, Z-Pak.
CNN claims that the use of these drugs is not clinically backed and is dangerous.
So, is this all just a massive misunderstanding? Or are Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively really using their Hollywood pull in ways that might ruin their reputations? Joe Rogan's blasts have definitely ratcheted up the tension. Marvel's rumored lawsuit could be the tipping point, especially if Deadpool 3 becomes a battleground for personal scores instead of the fun, off-the-wall sequel fans expect. For now, both Reynolds and Lively sit at an uncomfortable crossroads, each dealing with separate but interwoven controversies that show no signs of vanishing. Whether they can repair the damage, or if they even need to, remains to be seen. Celebrity drama tends to flare up and die down just as quickly. But in this case, the stakes are high. A globally adored superhero franchise, an entire cinematic universe, and the reputations of two of Hollywood's most visible stars. Maybe this whole thing will blow over with some smooth PR moves and a few clarifying interviews. Or perhaps it's the beginning of a new reality for everyone involved. What do you think? Are these just rumors gone wild? Or did Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively truly bite off more than they can chew? Either way, you can bet everyone in Tinseltown is watching, waiting to see how this story ends.
Do I have to sue CNN? CNN is saying I'm taking horse dewormer.
Yeah, what? So
They must know that that's a lie.
there's a lot of people saying it.
Right, I literally got it from a doc. This is the grand conspiracy, right? The grand
Right.
conspiracy is that the pharmaceutical companies are all in cahoots to try to make anybody who takes this stuff look crazy. But what's crazy is look how better I got.
Yeah.
I got it pretty quick, bitch.
Let's go.
There was almost no blood at all. I think I got a little paper cut on the movie. That was about it. And something that my kids can watch, but also as a parent, too, you want the parents need to get punched right in the heart as well.
Relationship with my father, which was very complicated, and my dad was a very I come from a middle class, kind of blue collar home, and my dad was just of that generation where it's just he was Clint Eastwood is how he communicated.
Okay, gotcha.
I think people tell themselves stories, and this sort of comes back to your worldview that you just mentioned.